From Mike Perry saying a racial slur after punching an old guy in a bar, to Khabib Nurmagomedov humiliating a homeless man on social media. There have been a lot of shocking moments in the world of UFC. That said, let's check out some that particularly outraged fans. Starting with the time Colby Covington insulted Brazil. You guys might remember Covington's fight in Sao Paulo. It was one hell of a fight, and it really got him where he is today in terms of popularity. But not because it was a good fight. Instead, it was due to what he said after he had won. He said some pretty offensive things about Brazil that really rubbed not only Brazilian fans, but fans of the sport all over the world the wrong way. For instance, in one comment, he compared the place to a literal dump. Obviously, the fans weren't very pleased to hear a foreign fighter talking trash about their country, but as if he hadn't done enough damage, he also went ahead and called UFC fans in Sao Paulo filthy animals. Damn, that's one way to become the most hated fighter, right? This explains why fans did not hold back from showing how much his words had outraged them, and they booed him for as long as he was there. They even tried to throw trash at him while he avoided it, and tried to head backstage without smelling like a dumpster. All that trash he talked about them was coming back to him, literally. What made it all so much worse is the fact that he refused to apologize to the fans. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he apologized to the filthy animals for comparing them to the people of Sao Paulo.
I got one thing to say. Tyrone Woodley, I'm coming for you. If you don't answer the front door, I'm gonna knock it in and I'm gonna take what's mine. That 1-3 bill.
UFC came under fire for the fighter's actions, just like it did for doing this next thing. I'm talking about the time they allowed Brock Lesnar to fight at UFC 200. Brock Lesnar is an incredible fighter, no doubt there. He has established himself as one of the most well-known fighters in the UFC. So why were people so angry at the UFC when he returned to fight Mark Hunt at UFC 200? Well, no one likes PEDs in this sport, especially not fans. And according to them, it was obvious that he was under some sort of influence when he returned to the octagon. UFC was called out for this, but they never properly commented on it, and decided to brush the accusations under the rug, which obviously made fans even more furious. What confused them about the whole situation was why would the UFC or USADA allow a fighter who was so clearly under the influence to step into the octagon in the first place? Matters only got worse when Lesnar was an absolute beast in the octagon against Hunt. This was the final confirmation that fans needed to be sure that the fighter had used PEDs. Hunt's fans were also furious because they thought Hunt was robbed of a victory because the UFC put him against an overpowered fighter who clearly used something to enhance his performance in the match. And while we're on the topic of fighters turning into uncontrolled beasts,
Congratulations, tremendous victory. Tell us about the first round. It looked like you were in trouble. What were you thinking? I'll sell it on eBay.
this next fighter didn't need any help from PEDs to anger fans. Khabib Nurmagomedov jumped over the cage and attacked Conor McGregor's team instead. There's just so much wrong going on here, and despite all that, some Khabib fans still try to justify what he did. The two fighters have had beef for a while now, but this was no way to settle it. You guys might remember the fight between the two at UFC 229. Khabib stayed dominant throughout the fight and forced McGregor to tap out in the 4th round. But that's not the reason why this event became so big. It was what happened after Khabib won. As soon as he had won the match, he shouted at McGregor before pointing at his team and bolting out the ring to attack them. He attacked Dylan Dennis, who trains with the Irish fighter. He tried to attack other members of McGregor's team as well, but didn't have any luck there. Although one of Khabib's training partners managed to get in the ring and punch an already beaten McGregor. Obviously, no one liked how violent and crazy the fighter was acting, and the audience booed him and threw objects at him as he exited the arena. UFC also came under fire for the way Khabib and his team acted at the event, and Dana White said that he felt sick at the sight of what Khabib did. He later announced that 3 of Khabib's team members had been arrested, but all of them were released shortly after.
And now one of Nurmagomedov's teammates throws a right hand and Conor, all hell has broken loose.
This is crazy.
But this wasn't the only time Khabib managed to outrage fans. Remember the time he humiliated a homeless man? The UFC's lightweight champion always finds one way or another to stay on the bad side of a lot of fans. And we're just confused about whether to like him for how good he is or hate him for the things he keeps doing. A while ago, he was heavily criticized for a video clip that went viral. He posted this video on his Instagram stories for all his followers to see, as if it were a moment to be proud of. In the video, he, along with some of his friends, was seen making fun of a poor homeless man that they came across on the street. What's worse is that they paid the poor guy to do push-ups for them, and when the homeless man tried to do the exercise, they laughed and made fun of him. The man clearly looked humiliated. Little did he know his face was going to be posted on the social media of one of the biggest fighters in the UFC, so that the entire world sees how humiliated he was. He faced a lot of hate and criticism for the video, with people spamming his Instagram comments telling him how rude it was for him to do such a thing. And a few days later, the fighter realized this and publicly apologized, just like the next fighter in this video realized his mistake and apologized. I'm referring to when Conor McGregor slapped an old man. Being generous is one thing, being pushy is another. The Irish fighter rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way when a video of him slapping a man almost double his age went viral. It was at an Irish pub, and the CCTV footage shows McGregor landing a power-packed slap on the old guy's face. You see, he walked into the pub and felt like being generous, so he offered to buy the whole pub a round of his proper 12 Irish whiskey. But one old guy in the pub wasn't interested in the offer, so he politely declined. Unfortunately, the fighter soon made it obvious that it was less of an offer and more of an order. He started arguing with the man, being pushy with his offer, and the man kept declining. The situation escalated quickly, and before you know it, Conor had landed a power-packed open-hand slap across the old man's face. People in the pub pulled him away from the man to avoid any further altercations. The video footage of the ordeal was quick to go viral on social media, and people were hating on the world champion for being so violent for no reason. He later apologized publicly for what he did, which is something this next fighter never did. It's time we discussed Mike Perry punching an old man and using racial slurs. Mike Perry is known for his explosive way of fighting, and that's one of the biggest reasons why fans love seeing him. But they only love seeing his punches when it's in the octagon, and not in a public restaurant against an old man. A video of the fighter went viral a while ago that showed him not only causing a scene at a restaurant in Texas, but also saying a racial slur. If all that wasn't enough to make fans angry, what he did next surely did the trick. As the situation escalated, his girlfriend asked him to calm down. A man in his 50s apparently got too close for Perry's comfort. This resulted in the fighter landing a punch on the guy, which allegedly injured him quite a bit. Perry never apologized for his actions and pretended like it never happened, which only made fans angrier. And that was all about some UFC moments that had fans outraged. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Look at him. Look at him screaming at the corner. He's screaming at Dylan Dennis, Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach.